Ma'am, do you know how fast you were going?
Welcome to the City of Largo. I'm Sergeant Dulski.
And I'm Officer Bowling.
Is that the only interaction you've ever had with law enforcement? Well, I'm going to tell you, working for the city, you're going to have to call us every now and then, and we're going to tell you what to do.
It kind of depends on the department that you work in and what kind of services that you provide. You may have a disgruntled customer, or you may have a missing child. But we want to make sure that you're comfortable calling us and that you know what to expect when you call us.
When the need arises to call the police, you have to realize that we operate on a series of priorities. Is there an emergency situation, or is it something that occurred an hour or two ago and that you just need a police officer to come out and take a report and document the incident? Emergencies are handled by 911. Late reported incidents or things that can wait are handled by emergency line 727-587-6730.
If you need to call the police department, they're going to ask you a series of questions. Keep in mind that while one dispatcher is taking the information, another dispatcher is dispatching an officer. So just because they're still on the phone talking to you doesn't mean that an officer's not coming to you. Let's talk to one of our dispatchers and let's find out some of the questions that a dispatcher may ask you while you're on the phone with them.
Marshall?
So we're here with Dispatcher Marshall and the Largo Police Department 911 call center. And we just want to kind of talk with him because this is the person that you'll be talking to when you call in, if you call in 911 or if you call in on the non-emergency number. So Dispatcher Marshall, what are some things, let's say if we have a suspicious person or a suspicious vehicle, or maybe there's someone on the property we want to have dispatched, what are some questions that you might ask the caller that they can be thinking about?
So we'd want to know if they're still on scene, how much time has passed if they've left.
Okay.
We'd want to know approximate location, if they're on the north, south, east, west side of the property, any landmarks, and if you can't, if there's nothing around, what street are they closest to? So then you'd also want to get the person's sex, race, height, weight, hair color, clothing description, any distinguishing features about them, any tattoos, scars, anything like that. If possible, get a description of the vehicle, a make, model, a tag if possible. You want to get the color, any distinguishing features, any dents, bumper stickers, any specialty wheels, anything like that. And if they're no longer on scene, we'd want to know the direction of travel so we can go search that direction, see if they're still in the area.
If a person's on scene and they're causing some kind of problem and the staff want to have that person trespassed, what would be your advice for them calling in to you?
So we'd want to know if they or you guys just want them specifically trespassed or just moved along, because typically people just want them moved along. They don't really want any hassle. So that's what we typically go with. However, if you do want them trespassed, we want to know that so we can actually issue them a trespass so they can't come back.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Let's talk about some situations where you might need to call the police department. Maybe you found some property on the facility that might be a little suspicious or could possibly be dangerous, or maybe there was a crime that was committed and now that area becomes a crime scene. The main thing is to make sure that everybody stays a safe distance away, that someone keeps an eye on that property until we're able to come. Someone calls us so that we're on the way, and make sure that we don't touch the item. It could be evidence.
The next situation might be an upset customer or an intoxicated parent or guardian. Let's say you're working at Highland Rec and a parent comes in completely intoxicated and you don't know what to do. First, try to de-escalate the situation as best you can. Have another employee call 911 and get us on the way. We can always cancel, but if you don't call us, we're never coming. The next thing to do is to keep others away from the situation so that no one else is affected. Another thing you do is lock the door if the person goes outside for any reason.
That way, if they decide to return, everybody inside will be safe. In the unlikely event that you may experience a robbery, and Sarge, I don't know that we've ever had a robbery at any of our city facilities.
We have not.
Just in case, what do? Make sure that you give them the money or any items that they're insisting on. There's nothing that you have on the property that's worth your life. If the item is an electronic device, such as a phone or a tablet, you can provide the officer with the phone number and the carrier, and maybe it can be tracked by using an app. Make sure that you give a good description, as Marshall told us about earlier. Once the person leaves, lock the door. Make sure that you don't touch any place where the suspect has been or touched. Could be evidence there for us to collect.
And now for the parent's worst nightmare, a lost or missing child. What do we do if a child gets lost or you find a child? First, let's call us right away. We don't want to delay our call to the police in any way, shape, or form. The second is to make an announcement and monitor all your exits and according to your location SOP. Highland is probably different from Southwest, which is different from Central Park's policies and procedures during major events. The missing person's name and description. What were they last wearing? Blue pajamas, slippers, whatever. A photo if available, and with today's electronics, there should be really no reason that we can't have a photo from a parent or guardian. The parent information if known, and phone numbers and contact information. Where and when the child was last seen, any known medical conditions, and if located, the officer may still want to lay eyes on the child. So if this was a 30-minute time lapse on a child being missing and someone finds that child, we're going to need to make sure that we find the child and that they're okay.
What if you need to make an emergency evacuation? This could be due to a storm, a gas leak, a fire, or an act of violence, and you need to leave the building. In your SOP, you have an evacuation area that you should be evacuating to, but only go there if it's safe to do so. In the event of an active assailant, there is a run, hide, fight class that is taught. If you've not already had it, you can be expecting to be attending that class. In short, we want to make sure that we evacuate if possible. Being far away is always safer than being on the property. So make sure that you're evacuating away from the threat. If you cannot safely evacuate, then barricade where you're located. Your facility may have special devices to help you barricade in the event of emergency. And all furniture in the room can be used to barricade to keep you and your citizens safe. The last option is fight. This is only in a last-ditch effort. If you cannot safely evacuate or barricade, you can use something to distract the assailant and keep yourself and your citizens safe.
So I want you to make sure that you're aware of all the rules and laws and ordinances that cover your facility or your division. For instance, and if you work in parks, Chapter 17 of the Largo City Ordinances covers some park rules. I want you to make sure that you're familiar with those so that you have a citizen that's not following the rules. You can kindly ask them to leave, and if they won't, you're more than welcome to call us and we'll be happy to enforce the rules for you. So in the previous section, we talked about rules and regulations. In law enforcement, we deal with a lot of what ifs. What if this and what if that? It lets us get ready for what may happen. So if you have a question, now is the time to ask your supervisor. Now is the time to get clarification on what if this happens at my facility? What if that happens at my facility? So that if though you do have those questions, when something happens, we're not calling supervisors and we're not trying to get clarification when an actual emergency is occurring.
We appreciate you watching the video. We hope that we've answered some questions and provided you with a little bit of guidance on when to call us and what to expect when you call us. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at the police department.
We'll be seeing you out there.